Yo, what's going on, guys? Cryptic TMG back with a brand new video. Today I'm going to be attempting to explain virtual energy to you guys. For all you guys who are confused by it, trust me, it's not that difficult once you get to grips with it. A lot of people coming from other games can't figure out virtual energy, can't really figure out the concept behind it and why it's so important, why you can use it to improve your strategy in races. But I'm going to break it down for you today, so let's get stuck into the video. Now, I know a lot of people see virtual energy like A-level maths, just confused what to do, like algebra. If I carry the 1, the square root of 9 is, trust me, it's a lot simpler than it looks. Stop thinking of virtual energy as, I don't know, like something to worry about in terms of fuel. Start thinking of virtual energy as like a stint timer, sort of like ACC. Now, if you did any endurance races on ACC, then you would know that each time we did an endurance race, every driver would have a stint length. And that was mainly because some of the cars could go much longer on the fuel tank than others, which obviously would have given that car a big advantage in a race, particularly a longer race where they would basically end up making one less pit stop. So what Le Mans Ultimate has done is they've used the virtual energy as their stint timer. Technically, it means that none of the GT3s can go beyond 50, it's around about 53 minutes, give or take, which means that in an hour-long race, you're definitely going to have to pit. Everyone's going to have to pit. It stops any car from having that advantage. So we're going to get stuck into how you can use different things in terms of, saving fuel to help you in strategy and how it changes the race and why people use virtual energy instead of messing with the fuel ratio. Now, let's use this race as an example. I think the fuel is actually on ×2 in this race, so it's doubly important to get the fuel correct. So this guy is right in front of me. He's pitting now. He's got 4% left, which means he wouldn't have made it another lap. I have 5% left, so I've got one more lap. But unfortunately, it was so tight. I think I ended up having to save fuel on this lap, which didn't give me the advantage that it should have given me. But as you can see, because we're basically down to 0.9%, if you look at the bottom right hand corner, you can see literally we have to come in and pit on this lap. Even though we still have fuel left, you cannot run out of virtual energy. I'm pretty sure you either get a 100-second penalty or something like that, or DQ, but I'm pretty sure it's a massive penalty. So you cannot allow your virtual energy to run out. Just think of your virtual energy basically as your fuel. It is your fuel, it is your stint timer. You cannot go past, the maximum amount of virtual energy, because obviously you're gonna get a crazy penalty. So basically, the reason why it is better off to touch your virtual energy instead of your fuel ratio literally is because once you fill up your virtual energy from the pit lane, it automatically does your fuel. So you have no need to actually touch the fuel. Whatever the fuel ratio is, when you go into the pit box before you even start the race, leave it on that. Only work with the virtual energy. So you're going to see me come into the pits now, and when I actually pit, I've not touched the fuel ratio. All I've done is worked out how much laps I need to the end of the race. Now in the top right hand corner, you can see we're on lap 21, and the estimate is for us to do 32 laps. So 32.8, so I'm going to make sure I've got enough fuel for 33 laps, which is why I put it to 12 laps on the virtual energy indicator on the bottom left, 62% virtual energy. That's how much I needed. Going to take me 24 seconds in the pit box, so I know exactly how long my pit stop needs to be. And that's basically why it's always important to calculate correctly how much virtual energy you actually need to get to the end. And they've done a lot of good work on LMU to make sure that everything's so much more straightforward. Now you can see how much laps you're predicted to do. So from lap 21, I knew I had to fill up to lap 33, which is basically 12 laps. So I worked out the 12 laps on the virtual energy indicator on the bottom left. That was 62% virtual energy, and that's pretty much the math. It's that simple. All you have to do is work out how much you need by looking at your lap estimator. Once you've worked that out, you just pull it into your little pit MFD. Obviously, I didn't want to change tires because I'd lose even more time. But as you can see, the guy behind me, he pitted earlier, and he basically worked out his fuel earlier, worked out all he needed to do was fill up 12 laps worth of virtual energy. So all he did was, he can pit earlier, as long as he fills up, as long as he's done enough of the race to where he can refill 12 laps worth of virtual energy, he can pit earlier than me. And that's what I'm talking about, the strategy. You can do different things. You don't have to follow everybody. You can kind of make your own strategy if you can make it work. I'm going to give you guys another example. So here we are in the Toyota hypercar. I'm going to put the virtual energy down to 50%. I've lowered the fuel ratio to 0.84 just for this example. Then I'm just going to go out on track and drive. I'm not going to try and save fuel whatsoever. Then I'm going to check what is my average virtual energy usage per lap. And then I'm going to make a pit stop, and then we're going to see how long the pit stop is. We're going to then try it again. The second time around, I'm going to save fuel, and then we're going to see how much seconds I can save in the pit lane just by saving a bit of fuel. I'll probably do around 3 or 4 laps, then I'll pit, and then we can see the difference. So we're approaching the end of the third lap, and you can see our fuel usage for virtual energy is 2.29. Our fuel usage for the normal fuel is 2.08. Obviously, virtual energy is always higher. So bear in mind, that's the reason why you always have to go off of your virtual energy. But we've done a 106.2. This is the lap we're going to pit, and I'm going to make sure I refill the virtual energy for 39 laps. So as we're coming to the end of the fourth lap, you can see I'm going to put the MFD up, and I want to refill to 39 laps because that's how much fuel I want for the car as I'm heading into the pit lane. Now let's see how long this pit stop actually takes. You can see there 87% gets us 39 laps with an average fuel usage with a virtual energy of 2.29, I believe. So let's go into the pit box and see how long this pit stop will take, and then we can compare it to when we try to save fuel. So we're stopping our marks, and the virtual energy estimation is a 19-second pit stop. So you don't really know if that's good or bad until you see what it's like when you actually try to save fuel, and we shall see that now. Afterwards, we'll just wait till we go. 19 seconds is probably not too bad, but again, you can definitely save fuel. It's actually 19.5 seconds. So now let's try that again. The exact same thing, but this time we're going to try and save fuel for the get-go for those 4 laps. So I'll just show you guys again. Everything's exactly the same as it was the last time. So now we're going to go again. This time we're going to save fuel from the get-go. So if you want to know the best way to actually save fuel, make sure you bind the clutch button and literally just sit on the clutch button. Don't press anything else until you get to the braking zone. Then obviously you'll slow the car down. Normally you would have to brake a little bit later because you're not going as fast into the corner. But again, you'll see me do the same thing into this corner. Literally, you just ride the clutch, roll the car into the corner, then you press the brakes and stuff like that, and that's going to allow you to save fuel. That is the best way to save fuel in LMU. Also, I was shifting up pretty early as well, but as you can see, we're using about 2% virtual energy, which is about 0.29 less than what we were using before. So now I'm going to put my virtual energy for the pit stop back up to 39 laps. So I want 39 laps worth of virtual energy for the pit stop. And as you can see, it actually takes less percentage. So now it's only 78% that I need because I've been saving fuel for these 4 laps. Now let's see how long the pit stop is. Remember, the last pit stop I believe was about 19.5 seconds in the end. So let's see how long this pit stop is. It says 16 seconds. So technically we should be out of the pit box 3.5 or 3 seconds quicker than what we did before. And obviously in a race, 3 seconds could be the difference between a few positions, especially if you're very close. So that's why it's very important. Actually, we actually get out in 15.5. So we actually saved 4 seconds, literally saved 4 seconds in 4 laps worth of saving. That's insane. So just imagine what you can do over a whole stint if you was just to be saving fuel from the beginning. That's one of the reasons why guys like Yerny Simichich is so good when it comes to virtual energy, because I've seen races where he's completely saved a whole pit stop and he's come from nowhere to win the race. But I'm going to show you guys with my fuel calculator how important it is to make sure your fuel is kept to a minimum. So this is my fuel calculator, but I'm going to use it to calculate virtual energy. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put in the same digits that I was using for the virtual energy per lap, which was 2.29, I believe. And let's say we're going to do an hour-long race. Yeah, let's make it an hour. And average lap time was a 106. Was it a 106? Yeah, average lap time was at a 106.2, I believe. So we're just gonna put a 106, a square number. Let's say our starting virtual energy is 100. So that means the estimated laps is about 55 laps. Fuel required, well, virtual energy in this case required, is 126. So that means our pit stop refill would be for 26%. Okay, so we already seen what a difference of about, you know, 2 or 3, 4% made to the pit stop time. Was about 3 or 4 seconds. So let's see what it's like if we put in the other digits when we were only using 2.0 per lap, and let's see what it does then. So now we've put the fuel per lap, which is basically virtual energy per lap, to 2.0, 1 hour race, average lap time of 106. And you can see with 100 litre starting fuel, or started energy in this case, the fuel required is 110, which is 16% less. So the pit stop refill is only for 10%, which would be again 16% less. So you can only imagine how much faster the pit stop will be. And basically, you know, if you do that stint after stint, you're going to gain so much in the pits, and eventually you might not even need to pit if you actually manage to save a pit stop. But at the same time, you are going to be doing slower lap times, so you really have to balance it out, work out how much you want to save per lap, per stint, because in the end, if you're very, very good at it, like someone like Jone Simoncic is, you can gain loads. But guys, I do have this virtual calculator, my fuel calculator, on my Patreon. I've made it free for all members, so you don't have to be a paid member to use it. So if you are interested in it, make sure you jump on my Patreon. But anyway guys, it's Cryptic TNG. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to catch my videos first, and peace.